great to be here. I can't think of a better combination than Museum of Failure and FuckUpNights. It's like an orgy in fuck up and wrongness. How many people have heard of Museum of Failure? Okay, excellent. I feel this is a good crowd. It's an exhibit of over 100 innovation failures. And the whole purpose is, like FuckUpNights, to get us to talk more about failure and hopefully learn from failure. It's also about helping companies understand that we need to accept failure if we want progress, if we want innovation. When I worked as a psychologist many years ago, I worked with patients in therapy for anxiety disorders, primarily. In Swedish, it's ångest. And I found myself telling them again and again that, reality is seldom as horrible as our minds imagine it. And that the best way to deal with fear, anxiety, is to meet it. It's to accept it radically, and then move on and live a meaningful life. Now, for the last 10 years or so, I've spent my time researching innovation climates in organizations. So how can we create a culture in the workplace where it's okay to, where you feel safe to experiment and explore, and a climate where it's okay to sometimes fuck up. And that's really difficult because it's so sensitive. People would rather do nothing and spare themselves a failure or a fuck up than to take a risk and do something really meaningful. It's so innate, it's so ingrained in us, that fear. When I started Museum of Failure 2 years ago, it was just supposed to be a small little project. It was supposed to be open for about a month, a tiny little museum in Helsingborg. The whole purpose of the Museum of Failure was to sort of stimulate interest in the research on accepting and learning from failure. I remember thinking like, it would be really cool if we got a few visitors. I was really worried that we wouldn't get any visitors. And if I got a little notice in the newspaper. Then everything exploded. Nothing could prepare me for this. It was insane. All of a sudden, the entire world was interested in Museum of Failure. And me, this nobody psychologist, nobody researcher, all of a sudden I was sort of rocketed into, or up onto, the international stage of global business and innovation. It was awesome. I was surfing this wave of success. Until, here's the fuck up. Until I was checking my email on my phone sort of casually on my way to a talk. And then I was like, what the fuck? My ex or former business partner was suing me. He was suing me because he said Museum of Failure was his idea. You recognize this from the 4 reasons for failure? And I was like stunned, I was shocked. I lawyered up, and lawyers cost money. A lot of money. At the end of the time, I couldn't afford the legal fees, and it was bankruptcy. Just taste that word, like personal bankruptcy. It was, is there any, I can't imagine anything else that just screams ultimate economic fuck up, personal economic fuck up, like bankruptcy does. And most people say that if you Google online in flashback, it says, the worst thing about bankruptcy is that it's publicly sort of made public through a little notice in the newspaper. Because of Museum of Failure, I got like half-page articles in the newspapers. It was horrible. For the first 2 months after my bankruptcy, I couldn't, it was a time of sort of self-reflection. I couldn't get over it. Like, why had this happened to me? What what did I do to deserve this? Where did I fuck up? Could I have been more cautious? Could I have been more careful with contracts? Should I have done more to protect myself? And I know a lot of you are small business owners, freelancers, and I wish I had some message. Do like this. Learn from my mistakes so you don't do the same thing as I did. I'm sorry to disappoint you because I have no such insight. What I do know after this experience, and it's ongoing still, is that I really genuinely got to taste my own medicine from all the advice I gave my patients. I've chosen now to completely accept the pain, the thorns, in order to have the rose. And it's an absolutely fucking gorgeous rose. Museum of Failure, it's still blooming. Fortunately, the Museum of Failure has not been affected by my personal legal problems or bankruptcy, and it's going strong on global tour. What's changed is I'm Dr. Mr. Failure out mission, doing talks about failure and the importance of accepting it, but now it feels more sincere. Now I feel absolutely confident when I say we need to accept failure and get on with a meaningful life. Thank you very much.